If you love Zelda and just got a Nintendo Switch 2, these 25 games are exactly what you need to keep that adventure going. Starting off at number 1, and honestly, this is the game that changed everything. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild on Switch 2 runs at a smooth 60 FPS with sharper visuals and the added Zelda Notes app. If you somehow have not played this open-world masterpiece yet, this is the definitive version to start with. The sense of exploration, the freedom to climb literally anything, and the way the world just opens up in front of you is still unmatched years later. Coming in right at number 2 as the direct follow-up to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom expands everything its predecessor built and then some. You get the same massive version of Hyrule, but now with sky islands, underground caverns, and the incredible Ultra Hand ability that lets you build vehicles and contraptions from scratch. It is a bigger and bolder adventure that rewards creativity at every single turn. Number 3 on this list is Genshin Impact, which is one of the most obvious recommendations for any Zelda fan looking for that same open-world exploration feel. You get a massive, beautifully detailed world called Teyvat to explore, elemental combat, puzzles scattered everywhere, and a constant drip of new content. The free-to-play model means there is really no reason not to try it on Switch too. At number 4, Okami HD brings one of the most visually stunning and spiritually unique action-adventure games ever made right to your Nintendo Switch 2. You play as a wolf goddess using a celestial brush mechanic to paint solutions into the world around you. The dungeon design, the exploration, and the layered Japanese mythology story make it feel like a Zelda game from a completely different universe. Landing at number 5, Tunic is a lovingly crafted Zelda-inspired adventure that gives you almost no guidance and trusts you to figure everything out yourself. The in-game manual, written in a fictional language that you slowly decode, is one of the most brilliant design ideas in recent years. Combat borrows from the Souls-like school of thought, while the puzzle design stays true to classic top-down Zelda roots. Number 6 brings in Hollow Knight, a beautifully dark and deeply rewarding Metroidvania that shares Zelda's love of interconnected world design and earned progression. You explore the collapsed kingdom of Hallownest as a small warrior bug, uncovering secrets and boss fights across dozens of hours of content. The atmosphere is rich, the combat feels great, and finding new abilities that unlock new paths always hits just right. At number 7, Hades is an absolute must-play that blends roguelike gameplay with a remarkably well-written story about escaping the Greek underworld. Every run feels fresh because of how the weapons, boons, and character interactions shift each time. It was already brilliant on Switch 1, and it plays even better on Switch 2, with faster load times and smoother performance. Coming in at number 8, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is one of the most ambitious and deeply crafted JRPGs on any Nintendo platform. The sheer scale of the world, the intricacy of the combat system, and the emotionally resonant story make it a game that rewards patience in a big way. If you love Zelda for its world building and sense of scale, Xenoblade 3 operates on an entirely different level. Number 9 is Immortals: Fenyx Rising, which is essentially the most direct Zelda clone on this entire list and wears that label proudly. You get climbing, gliding, stamina mechanics, physics-based puzzles, and an open world stuffed with challenges and vaults that feels straight out of Breath of the Wild. The Greek mythology setting and comedic narrator give it a personality that is completely its own though. At number 10, Dark Souls Remastered makes the list because if Zelda dungeon design is what hooked you, then Dark Souls dungeon design on a completely different difficulty level is the next evolution. The interconnected world of Lordran feels genuinely alive with secrets, shortcuts, and lore buried in item descriptions. It is punishing, but the Switch 2 version handles it beautifully in both docked and handheld mode. Number 11 is Monster Hunter Rise, which scratches a very different but very real itch for Zelda fans who love preparation, exploration, and satisfying boss encounters. Each hunt sends you into a beautifully designed map to track, fight, and carve materials from massive creatures. The wirebug movement system makes getting around each environment feel genuinely exhilarating on Switch 2. Coming in at number 12, Ori and the Will of the Wisps is one of the most visually breathtaking games on the Switch 2 and delivers a deeply emotional platformer adventure. The world design rewards curiosity just like Zelda does, with hidden areas, upgrade paths, and a narrative that lands harder than you expect. Every movement feels precise, and the art direction is genuinely jaw-dropping from start to finish. At number 13, Sea of Stars is a turn-based RPG that pays loving tribute to the golden age of JRPG design while feeling completely fresh and modern. The world is full of secrets, the timed combat system keeps battles engaging, and the environments are diverse and gorgeous throughout. It is the kind of game that reminds you why exploration-driven RPGs became so beloved in the first place. Number 14 brings Eastward to the table, a beautifully hand-drawn action-adventure with strong top-down Zelda DNA in its puzzle design and world structure. You follow a duo traveling through a post-apocalyptic world full of quirky characters and memorable towns. The pixel art is some of the best ever put into a video game, and the storytelling has a warmth that sticks with you. Coming in at number 15, Death's Door puts you in control of a small crow reaper on a mission to retrieve a stolen soul from a world where nothing dies. The combat is tight and satisfying, the world is interconnected and full of secrets, and the boss fights are genuinely excellent. It feels like a love letter to classic action-adventure design without ever feeling like a cheap imitation of anything. At number 16, Oceanhorn 2: Knights of the Lost Realm is the most straightforwardly Zelda-inspired game on this entire list, almost to a fault. You get a third-person adventure with sword combat, elemental magic, puzzles, and dungeons across a variety of colorful island environments. It is polished, charming, and perfectly suited for Switch 2 players who want that classic Zelda structure in a brand new world. Number 17 is CrossCode, a massively underrated action RPG with some of the smartest puzzle design you will find in any video game from any era. Set in a fictional MMO world, it blends fast range combat with increasingly clever environmental challenges that genuinely make you think. The story is surprisingly deep, and the sheer amount of content packed into this package is remarkable. At number 18, Blossom Tales 2: The Minotaur Prince is the most direct love letter to classic top-down Zelda on Nintendo Switch 2. Full stop. The dungeon design, the overworld secrets, the item progression, and the charming story structure all feel like they were pulled straight from A Link to the Past. If you grew up on old-school 2D Zelda games, this one is an absolute joy from beginning to end. Coming in at number 19, Titan Quest II brings the legendary action RPG franchise back with a sprawling Greek mythology world, full of monsters, loot, and ancient gods causing chaos. The isometric exploration and deep character build system give it a very different feel from Zelda, but the adventure-driven progression loop keeps it firmly in this category. It is a meaty and rewarding experience on Switch 2. At number 20, Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age is widely considered one of the greatest traditional JRPGs of the modern era, and it plays absolutely beautifully on Switch 2. The world is full of towns and dungeons to explore. The story goes places you genuinely do not expect, and the orchestral soundtrack is some of the best in the genre. It is a long game, but every hour of it earns its place. Number 21 is The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim, which remains one of the most replayable open-world adventure games ever made, regardless of how many times it has been released. Dragon slaying, dungeon crawling, faction quests, and a world packed with things to discover make every playthrough feel different. The Switch 2 version handles it well, and the pick-up-and-play portability makes it perfect for long sessions on the go. At number 22, Stardew Valley might seem like an unusual pick for a Zelda list, but the dungeon crawling in the Skull Cavern, the seasonal secrets, and the constant sense of discovery all tap into the same exploration instinct. Building your farm while slowly uncovering the mysteries of Pelican Town makes for an endlessly rewarding gameplay loop. It is one of the most beloved games on any platform for very good reasons. Coming in at number 23, Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch is a Studio Ghibli-inspired JRPG with a world full of wonder, heart, and genuinely great creature collection mechanics. The real-time combat and familiar-based battles set it apart from most traditional RPGs, while the emotional story pulls you through a beautifully animated world. It is charming in the most sincere way possible, and perfect for fans of Zelda's narrative spirit. At number 24, Bastion is a compact but brilliantly crafted isometric action RPG that tells its story through one of the best narrator performances in gaming history. Every decision you make in Bastion affects how the world feels, and the reactive storytelling keeps things fresh throughout. It is short but incredibly tight, and the combat feels excellent from the very first minute. Wrapping things up at number 25, A Short Hike is a gentle and joyful little open-world game about climbing a mountain on a small island full of friendly characters. It captures that same feeling of curious exploration that makes Zelda so special, but packages it in a 1 to 2 hour experience that is basically perfect from start to finish. It is small in scale, but enormous in charm, and one of the most feel-good games on Switch 2.